If you have been following the news on the state of the economy, you would have realized that Nigeria needs to start earning more pocket money and stop relying on its credit card. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has reiterated this advice to Nigeria to step up efforts to bring more people into the tax net, increase taxes, and reduce the country's debt burden. These suggestions emerged from the sidelines of the ongoing IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. IMF also restated the need for Nigeria to phase out its controversial petrol subsidy and redirect such funding to targeted subsidies on critical development drivers like health and education. The IMF noted that Nigeria's debt was projected to continue to rise. Mikhail.
Yes, I want to see us earn more money from taxation. I want to see us take taxation more seriously. The advanced countries of the world, like Norway, like the UK, you can't dodge tax. If you dodge it, you are going to jail. They've even jailed even some of their former leaders for refusing to pay tax. They don't play with it. In fact, the punishment in some countries, the punishment for manslaughter, it's not as severe as the punishment for tax evasion. That's to tell you that, look, you are robbing your country when you don't pay tax. But in our country, the efficiency of collection is what we should be talking about. There are many avenues through which the resources of our country are leaking. This is the truth. Some of our people are even already overtaxed. They are complaining. Local government will come collect its own tax. State government, from the same person, for the same reason, double taxation is happening. Double taxation is happening. So it's not even, yes, I know that there are many people who ought to be in the tax bracket that are not already in the tax bracket. It's a lot easier for the authorities to collect tax like pay as you earn. Those of us in the formal sector, we are workers here. From our salary, deduct at source. It's a lot easier for them to collect such taxation. But there are other people in business who are not paying at all. Some are paying, they are robbing the country. They bribe tax officials and ensure that it's just a little of what they should pay that they are paying. A lot of our big people who have big corporate concerns, they are robbing the country. They are not paying what they should be paying. And some of them are so big, some of them are so powerful that if you are not careful in harassing them, you could put yourself in trouble. So those cutting corners, we have to take a second look at them. That's why I talk about the efficiency of the collection. It's not, even in Lagos, despite Lagos internally generated revenue rising up to 50 billion a month, Lagos can still do better. But a lot of the people who ought to pay tax are not paying. That is a fact. So the government, the incoming administration, has to do something about our revenue. Taxation is a big source of revenue that we have not explored thoroughly. Everyone appears to think that, okay, since money will come from petrol, from crude oil, let's just focus on that. But we can't continue like this. If we were sourcing, getting impressive figures from revenue, we won't turn to Babiala as we have turned to globally. Just begging for, for loan all over the place. Everyone has seen now, except the blind. Everyone has seen now that at the rate we are going, we will eventually need to borrow money to even service our debt. Because there was a particular quarter, I think last year or so, when we spent 118% of our revenue to service debt. During that period, South Africa spent only 20% of its own receipts, of its own revenue to service debt. We spent 118%. That's to tell you that we are in trouble. Even 80% is too high. 50% is too high. But we spent 118%. So we talk about debt to GDP ratio. I have always said I do not believe in debt to GDP ratio. It has to be debt to revenue ratio. Can our income, can the revenue that we earn support the rate at which we are accumulating debt? All of these people, this IMF and the rest of them, advising Nigeria, they are saying that, look, you can't continue to borrow in this manner. Focus on revenue. If you are able to earn more, then infrastructure will not suffer. You will find money to fix critical infrastructure instead of simply going to borrow money all over the world. And I'm happy that even the Senate president, who has always supported, who has always agreed to part with money every time, who has always supported the idea of borrowing every time the executive goes to them. The other day I was reading him, he said, our rate of borrowing is not sustainable. I said, oh, now you are making sense. Because by borrowing in the way we are doing, we are postponing the evil day. We are postponing, and I don't think that is really worth it. Everyone is complaining now. In the past, when people complain, they will say, oh, we are spending it on infrastructure, and don't talk. Oh, now you are not earning enough money to be able to even service the debt.
So, Sikian, BK has talked about tax evasion. IMF has also advised that Nigeria brings more people into the tax bracket. Who are these people?
Basically, when you look at tax and taxation or revenue, the problem we have in Nigeria is about threefold. Number one, tax waivers of the government. Most corporations, major corporations in Nigeria, big time listening, get tax waivers. Big time tax waiver. And there's nothing wrong. It's part of the economy. It's part of growth. It's part of mobilizing funds. But the way we go about tax waiving in Nigeria is not the way it's done. Where you see government will just say, oh, I've given so company.
Is this a big man's problem?
Say what?
Is this a big man's problem?
Yes, it is. To a large extent, it is. It is the government, not even the big man. Because when you see somebody is bringing in goods into the country are supposed to pay probably 20 billion. And you say, oh, because we want to encourage this, we want to encourage, you knock out 50% of that at that because you want to encourage the person to invest. That is done. It's done in most countries.
They are doing it for their friends.
That is what I'm saying. So it's
for their friends, not just encouragement.
That is it. So it's for their friends. That is the issue. That is a big
problem. Will even complain about it.
That's if you see
some
how
of them
much,
are so strong, they are so powerful that if you
see
try to move in, even your position could be.
Yes, if you see how much is being, we are losing so much money. That is one. Second is corruption, collection. Most of these people, especially in the federal agencies, if you see what these guys are making, they will collect certain amount. They will be able to post the amount. They will be able to. There are so many cuts here and there within the. Then the third one is unemployment. We have, which one are you going to tax? We have over 40% of Nigerians that are not employed. Those that are employable, over 40%. We have 130 million Nigerians under poverty line. Are you going to tax person that is under poverty? What is he going to pay?
Multidimensional.
So that's multidimensional. You can see that that problem. So first and foremost is trying to scale up the SMEs, because that is where the money is. Scale up the SMEs. Make sure that the SMEs, those within the SMEs, be able to get their job, do their job, because over 80% of Nigerians are self-employed. They're in the SMEs. How many will the ministry employ? How many will the companies employ? Now, if you're able to scale up power, that is what we say, it is not just one. The problem is multifaceted. If you're able to scale up power, an average person that is a vulcanizer can do his job. The one that is doing sewing can do her job. The one that is doing barbing can do his job. When they have power to be able to do that, instead of relying on buying fuel at 100 or 2, I just came back from the East. They are selling fuel. The least I bought was 250,000, 250 naira per liter. 250, 270 in the Southeast. In Lagos, it goes about 180 something. So you can see that. So before you can talk of taxing people, you must make sure that they even have a means of employment where they are making some earnings and be able to pay tax. So and the last one is trust. Most people are not paying tax because even the one that you paid to the government, you don't see what they are doing with it. If you pay tax, if you see what they are paying in UK, somebody was telling me what he earns in UK and what he pays in tax. I was shocked. Almost 40%. Almost 40% of what he earns. So it means that if you're earning about £1,000, they are collecting almost £400 on tax. But you see that you get water. You know that there will power. You know that there will be road. You know that their children go to school free, primary school free. So those are so when people don't believe that what they are paying, they are getting some commensurate returns. That also makes people not to pay. So then finally is the enforcement. Because you can put all the laws in place. If there's no level of enforcement, then those are when we have done that, then we can now start talking about issue of this thing. But why won't we borrow? There's nothing wrong in borrowing. I've said it time with that number. Countries borrow. You used to say local balance. America going to BC. You used to say it a lot. When we talk, we say America is one of the greatest. I don't know whether it's one of the greatest debtors in the world. But you know why? They can take anything, they can borrow anything, because they have the capacity, they have the economy, they have the capacity to pay. Ours will be collecting. Even those that we borrow, we don't even use it for the basic infrastructures that we're supposed to use it for.
All right, gentlemen. So to add to that, there are also those who say there are those who pay taxes but does not reflect in the database. Do we have a problem with the database? Yes,
the database is a fact. Because for example, if you look at what is going for Lagos, it's because they'll be able to. And that is why when I see some people talk about the consultants in Lagos collecting tax, not doing that, this, and that, I laugh over it. You need to ask yourself, before they start doing that, what was Lagos making in terms of revenue? If you understand what I mean. Because you must be able to have a clear-cut database to be able to. There are so many. In Lagos, what Lagos is making so much is back. They have so many people within their database. So at any given point in time, you can always know who is paying and who is not paying. And some states have come to Lagos to be able to come and borrow that. Whether they're implementing it enough is what I don't know. But that is a very, very fundamental issue. Which is why now we are talking of population. In the next few weeks, we are going to population. The essence of also population is for growth, planning, and also be able to establish a data for Nigerians. Know those that are working, know those that are not working, know those that are earning. In certain countries, like let's say United Kingdom, they know what everybody is earning. As you are collecting your salary, it's even from source that is deducting. Right. You that is on your own, you're supposed to pay. If you don't pay, before you get home, you see they drop it for you. Look at some of the, even look at it. Even fines. If you beat the traffic light, that is part of tax. If you beat the traffic light in UK.
Lagos is doing that now.
Yes, if you beat the traffic light, no policeman will run after you. Right. By the time you are getting home, you have your boss already.
I'll react to that, but it will be after this break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. On Sunday, and I have in the studio Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Chris Kende Wandu. So, Bikio, let me have you react to that. I asked that question because a woman who sells soft drink at the garage, if you tell her she doesn't pay tax, she would disagree with you. Because the money these guys collect from her, maybe do not get to...
It may not be going to the...
right quarters.
Yes, it's true. A lot of those boys, okay, all these motor guys, these Hutchins who collect money from bus drivers at motor parks. How many of the money, if we are to investigate, how are we sure that even a quarter of what they collect from those people go into the government coffers? You see the kind of life that their bosses live. So the truth is a good percentage of that money goes into private pockets. And that's why I was talking about the goal shouldn't simply be to increase taxes or create new taxes. The efficiency of collection that reduces human interference as much as possible should be our goal. Because when you bring in technology, you are guaranteed more money. For example, in TVC, for example, we can say, okay, no more, for now, we don't want, nobody should pay us cash for their transactions. Everything must be electronic. If you are able to guarantee that, you make automation of your transaction, your collection and everything, you automate the system, you make more money because our people exploit a situation in which you do not, if you fail to automate your processes, you allow our people to exploit such an unfortunate situation. For example, there are civil servants who have their own tickets. You go to a ministry to pay, they have their own tickets. They've cloned the ministry's ticket. You are paying for that transaction, for the services provided you. If they cut like 5 tickets for themselves, they will cut maybe 10 for government. So the revenue is shared between them and government. So there is a Nigerian airline that is dead now. You are collecting cash from people and writing receipts, paper receipts, not automated, just paper receipts. You can be so sure that a good chunk of the money that the company should make will actually go into people's pockets because they will have found a way around it. But the moment you bring in technology as much as possible, all you need to do is go and pay. We travel, the parking lot is there, you pay. It's not nobody. It's all. You can't get out of the parking lot in the airport unless you present that automated or it's not manually generated. That receipt is the computer that gives you the receipt based on the accurate payment that you've made. That way, they're able to save money. Make money. So we shouldn't just simply tax Nigerians because these are difficult times. Let us even improve on the efficiency of collection, ensure that more and more of those taxes being paid actually get to the right quarters where it can be used for everyone's good. But if we just say, okay, let's tax people and we make some people richer from the taxation, then that is not the goal. Will have been defeated. We won't achieve the goal. So they are also talking about the fact that Nigeria is one of the countries with least taxation. Is still part of what we are saying that, look, we have not captured enough people, and then the efficiency of collection is not there. Lagos, I dare say, can even still make more money. The reason Lagos is special is, the commercial capital of the country. There are so many big corporations, big banks have their headquarters here, and they make money. Well, I'm telling you that there are still many people in Lagos who do not pay tax at all. They are feeding fat from the system. They are cheating the system. We have to make it difficult for people who must pay tax to escape payment of tax or to sidetrack payment. All of those people, the point that he raised earlier about waivers and the rest, I was time when the House of Reps was very angry that the executive should not give tax waivers without the National Assembly mandating it to do so. Because you are simply helping your friends, making them richer at the expense of the state. Where you are supposed to pay duty on certain goods, you say, okay, duty free. No, they should not pay. At the end of the day, who loses? It's our country. We can make much more money in Nigeria than we are making if we sanitize the process, if we block all the loopholes. Because the loopholes are so many. If we block the loopholes, we'll make money in so many places, make money in the master, make money in the post authority, all of those revenue generating agents. We have so many of them, but they are not generating enough.
All right, so Vicky, why would anyone prioritize borrowing because the infrastructures are there to show for it at the expense of the crisis development as a result of our increased borrowings?
I think now government wants to make a difference. It wants to show that, yes, it has done this, it has done this, and the funds are not there. It's not like during the First Republic, Second Republic, when we had so much money. Somebody even suggested that we didn't know what to do with it. Government will never find enough funds for its projects. The country is getting bigger, the population is getting bigger. You need to increase infrastructure. If our roads were narrow before, because population growth and more people buying cars, you then need to expand those roads. So we've had more dual carriageways in the last few years than we had for decades. So the point that I'm making is infrastructure is important. It is a response to exponential population growth, but the funds are not there. So government has to be creative. Instead of simply looking for money, borrowing money to fix infrastructure, get the private sector more and more involved. They've started something now, trying to get companies like Dangote and the rest of them to help build roads. Even NNPC has been given the go-ahead to spend some of its profit building roads in different parts of Nigeria. The point that I am making is we can actually do build, operate, and transfer. Angola is building a new refinery through build, operate, and transfer. After a while, it belongs to you. You have not spent a dime. Mm-hmm. It is the private sector that has brought the money. They will make their money, and once they've made their money, based on agreement that you reach, they concede the infrastructure to government, and government will begin to make money from it. That way, you escape borrowing fresh funds. But if you think that because the funds are not available, you must keep borrowing. Now look at how much we are spending. We can't be spending more than 93% to service debts. Even our budget, we can't find the funds to implement our budget. We still go and borrow. Right. So at a point, it has to stop. All the talk about, infra is because of infrastructure. Even those who agree to it, I'm telling you, they too have now agreed that, it's like we have overdone this thing. No? Remember, even China the other day said, no, we are not giving you this loan. They've seen that it is becoming increasingly difficult for us to pay. Because you have to pay in foreign currency. And the value of the naira is going down. You earn a lot of your revenue in naira terms, but you must pay back in foreign currency. That's what is making the, what is it called? That's what is making the debt servicing such a big problem for us, because you earn revenue largely in naira terms, and then pay back in foreign currency.
CK, let me have your final take.
Yes, as I've said before, there's no problem with borrowing. But what do you put borrowing into? Under this government, we'll see some level of infrastructure development. Part of what we borrowed, we say we are using for the second Niger bridge. I passed through the Niger bridge yesterday. I saw it's ready. It's practically ready. There is no two way about that. It's the inner road that is being prepared now. But it is not just about borrowing. We can also do more to earn more. What we are lacking is ability to be able to attract foreign exchange. We are a country that produces crude oil, but buy petroleum. We spend some. We are not talking about subsidy, removal of subsidy. If our refineries are working, we won't be spending that much foreign exchange that we are earning to import fuel. That is money that we can earn and use in other critical areas. So that is what I'm talking about, issue of building capacity. We must make sure we also build our power. Look at power, look at petroleum, look at other issues. Then, if we'll be able to do that effectively, then employment will rise.
All right.
You cannot continue to say raise tax. Continue raising tax. If you continue raising tax, we have problem. There is a level to which you can raise tax. But a population that is underemployed, totally underemployed, it will be difficult for you to be able to meet your revenue when it comes to tax. So you must look for alternatives to be able to cushion that, and that is the fact.
Thank you, CK. Thank you very much, Bikil.